wedding hacks that will make every bride's life much easier. Hey, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jess and I am a wedding and event special designer in Los Angeles, California. If you're new here, welcome. And if you want more information, advice, tips, tricks, you name it, on how to plan your special day, go ahead and subscribe, heart, click, all of the things so you'll be notified the next time I upload a new video. Likely when you're planning a wedding, you want to make sure everything runs seamlessly and perfect. So the first tip that I have for you is to wear bug repellent. Either a perfume that wards off or is like a repellent to mosquitoes, or actually wearing bug spray. This will help graciously if you have an outdoor venue, especially if there's mosquitoes. I would highly encourage you to ask the venue manager or anybody who's worked at the venue around that time, season, date, to see if it's mosquito season and if there's mosquitoes around the area, because the last thing you want is while you are enjoying your special day to be bitten and to feel itchy. If you are having your ceremony in the grass, the next tip I have for you is to wear a high heel attachment. And what that is, it's usually a rubber type of material that goes on the back of the heel that you can put, and it will help you from sinking into the grass. It's a really, really good invention. I don't know who invented it, but they are ingenious. And that is what I recommend to all of my brides who are walking in the grass and they don't want to sink, especially if your heels are very thin, or it's just prone to the grass being a little bit more moist. Then you and your bridesmaids might sink into the grass. So having one of these rubber insole heel things will actually work wonders. And I'll go ahead and put it in the description so you can click and buy the product. The next thing is, what about your dress and your bra straps, or how do you hold it up? Some dresses do come with a bra or type of liner or anything that will help you hold the dress and keep your girls in place. But if you don't, then I would highly recommend having a bra sewn into your dress if it's already included in the dress. Most are these days, but some aren't, and that's totally okay. Or you can have inserts. There are a lot of different types of companies out there that provide bra inserts that either stick so it can be strapless and people can't see it. A really, really good one is to make sure that it only covers the front and not the back, because if you have a backless dress, then it'll be seen. And on another note, 2 to 3 days prior, especially if you're sun tanning and it's really, really hot where you are and you get sunburned a lot, do not wear any type of shoulder sleeves or any type of straps that will make your shoulders have a what is it called? Oh, I remember, it's sunburn. You don't want to have a sunburn because you don't want those straps to be seen during your wedding photos or if you get a spray tan and whatnot. So to make sure you look flawless, make sure that the bra is built in and you don't have to worry about it, and then that you don't wear any type of straps a few days or a week prior to the wedding, so that way you don't have any sunburn in the photos. You'll thank me later. A few things that you can do if you accidentally get a stain on your dress is to, and this is a wedding planner secret, 3 things that we use is either chalk, a bar of soap, or baby powder, and that will help not see so much of the stains during photos. If you really, really want to get the stain out, I hear that using table salt, getting off red wine works, but if you don't have time to take out the stain and you want to get it dry clean later, then go ahead and use those 3 things: a bar of soap, a chalk, or baby powder. They work wonders. If your wedding is at a place where it might be slippery, maybe you are walking down the aisle on a stage and it's near the ocean and it can kind of get dewy. The platform is probably made out of some kind of material like a vinyl or anything, or if it's on your dance floor and you're having some kind of wooden dance floor, or maybe even a vinyl on top of it with your logo, however you have it. Basically any type of surface that can make you slip. You want to ensure that you're not going to fall on your face. And to do that is to either rough up your shoes on the bottom of your shoe, which I don't really recommend because I don't think you want to rough up a shoe that costs so much money. And instead to buy a sticker that goes on the bottom of your shoe, and it's already a type of rough material where it will prevent you from sliding or falling and eating on your face. So I will also link that in the description so then you can find out where to get it and probably what I'm talking about. But that has worked amazing wonders for my brides. Now the next tip that I would highly suggest is get a designated person, probably your maid of honor, to have your bag or a small compact bag where you'll be sitting at your sweetheart table. And that can have your lipstick, it can have any type of maybe eyelash glue, maybe the bug repellent. That would be very helpful. Anything that you can think of that could be a small or a slight emergency that you might need to touch up during the reception, and no one will know that you needed it because it's already underneath your table. And that is a very good tip if you have linen, like a linen table, and you can put it underneath and no one will know that there's a bag underneath there. But if it's a bare table, like a farmhouse table, and there's nothing that can kind of cover that, then at least have a small cosmetic bag and then put that either, tucked kind of near the floral where people can't see it, or at the least case maybe a lipstick and then put it under the napkin and people would just never know. But so that way you don't stress over it, I would definitely have a designated person to help you with that. Another tip is to stay away from foods that will cause you to bloat. You don't want to feel so sick or just ill before the wedding, so if there's something you're intolerant of, and I hope that if you're intolerant of, you do stay away from that item, but if it's something with a slight intolerance, sometimes you may give yourself, a cheat day, right? But if there's something that's going to make you kind of sick, I don't want you to risk it. A good thing is to stay away from dairy a few days prior to the wedding. It has been said that that does cause a lot of bloating, so that is also a good tip. To keep your veil from flying, and if you're having an outdoor ceremony, it happens all the time. Most of the times, like 90% of the time, the veil is like a problem when the bride walks down the aisle because it's not exactly as perfect as you think and you would imagine it to be because of the wind. The wind takes over because the veil is so light. Now there are two ways that I can see it doing. You can braid your hair in the back, half up, right in the middle, and have the hair artist make a vertical braid just right in the back of the crown. Make that vertical braid so that way she can go ahead and insert your veil right here, and then that would be covering probably the middle, and then over it you have the layer of hair so that no one can see it and know that you have a vertical braid that's holding the veil together. That way it doesn't slip off. Now, to keep the veil from flying so much, if you can find some type of magnetic weights that are small enough that people can't really see and have that sewn onto the veil, that sometimes does help. You can find magnets anywhere, but if the veil is a little bit more heavy, that works. So like the liner of the veil, if you have a bunch of beads around the lining of the veil at the end of it, that will help hold the weight down. The lighter the veil is, the easier it is for the wind to pick up. So the heavier the veil is, the least likely the veil will, slip off. So it really depends on what type of veil you have. You can probably try to find little tiny magnetic circular things to sew onto the veil and then add some kind of pearl on top of it, and then people would never know if you have pearls on your veils. But I think it really depends, but just note that sometimes it can be really tricky when you have a veil. But I really do think those are good tips, is to make sure you have a vertical braid on the back. I learned that from TikTok. Thank you, TikTok, and comment below if you love TikTok as much as I do. And I also have a TikTok too, so you can go ahead and check that out at Not Just a Planner. And having the magnetic part of your veil, very good tip. The next one is getting 2 cakes. Yes, you heard me, 2 cakes. And I always advise my brides to get a faux cake. Yes, a fake cake that people think is real, but actually the real one is in the back where the catering team is cutting it up. That way it's way easier and more time consuming to be able to have them already pre-sliced and everyone can get their piece of cake. So having a faux cake, how you would do that during the picture time, right, is you would have the bakery create you a faux cake and there would be a little sliver that would be real and they would have to tell you what part of the cake is real. So that way when you cut into it, then people think it's real, but really you know that it's a faux cake and people will just never know the secret, right? It saves so much time and sometimes, and most times, it's actually way more cost efficient. But it depends on the type of cake that you are wanting. Some cakes can be very intricate and how cake designers think about the cost of the cake is really the labor. How much time is it going to take them to make the cake? So the more intricate on the designs that you have of the cake, the more expensive it will be and probably just as expensive as a real cake. But if you have it more simple and the florist can add flowers, real flowers into it or what have you, that is where you can really save a good bang of your buck. But to save time and not stress about the cake, I would highly recommend that you have a fake cake and then you have a sheet cake in the back. And the sheet cake doesn't have to be from the baker. It could be from like Costco or Sam's Club. Just saying. This last tip, and this is a genius tip, if you are not collecting your RSVPs online, and you're doing it the old school way and you send people a invitation and there's an RSVP card that they can go ahead and mail back to you, make a number in the back of the card. And if you don't want your guests to know about it, you can definitely use invisible ink. And I saw this on TikTok. You can make and number the RSVP cards from 1 to however many people you're inviting, and then correspond that number in invisible ink to an Excel sheet or some kind of way that you're keeping track of what number goes to that guest, right? So that way, if somebody does not write their name and they're replying, yes, I can make it, or no, I unfortunately regret that I cannot make it to your wedding, you know who that person is who sent that back to you. Because in the back of that RSVP card, you have that invisible number that corresponds to that person, which is a very, very good tip. Alright guys, and that is it for today's video. I think these tips were wondrous and helpful, and if you did, go ahead and comment below and let me know that which tip that you loved. And I will see you guys at the next video. Bye!